All right, what's going on everyone? Samir Chibane here, founder of the eCom Incubator, where we help people start and scale their e-commerce businesses. And today,
what's going on everyone?
We actually got Juan Valdez in the building, the co-founder of the eCom Incubator, my boy right there. Now listen, we're in the Airbnb here, and last night we ran into a little debacle, okay? So usually Joanna, our assistant, books our Airbnbs or our hotels whenever we travel. But this time, or yesterday, we actually got a text to come to LA for a meeting. Okay, now here's the thing. Juan and I are really comfortable with being uncomfortable, all right? And what I mean by that is oftentimes when it comes to entrepreneurship and business in general, you gotta be able to make snap decisions. And the reason why is because, well, opportunity does not last forever. And I actually learned this concept from a great guy named Donald Sull. You guys should check out his book. Where he talks about this concept of windows of opportunity. Okay, now windows of opportunity, because a lot of times, you know, the modern day that we live in, people think that, well, the world revolves around them, and if an opportunity is on their plate, you know, it's gonna stay there forever. Or a lot of people are just procrastinate. Okay, they just procrastinate and think that the opportunity is gonna be there forever as well. When in reality, opportunities often come in small windows of time. So we literally packed, as soon as we got that text, we booked our flight probably like an hour later, then booked the Airbnb. And I fell for the 2-bedroom, you know, finesse. And by that I mean, you know, they had a couch, they had a bed, but they listed it as 2 beds. And so I don't really check much detail. And long story short, we get to the place and I'm like, Juan, we're gonna have to rock, paper, scissors, shoot for that. So if you guys wanna see who won, just go ahead and check out my Instagram story and you will know who is the reigning champ. Cough, cough. Now here's the thing, today I wanna talk to you guys about a concept or a great book that I read called the Iconoclast, okay? And Iconoclast is really a definition. I have my notes here, so hope you guys don't mind me just kind of sweeping through them. But Iconoclast, a neuroscientist reveals how to think differently by Gregory Berns. All right, now the idea or the definition of an iconoclast is a person who attacks cherished beliefs, traditional institutions, etc., as being based on error or superstition. Now what that means is that, well, when we are born, we're born into a world, and you know, we're born in a family that thinks a specific way, that behaves in a certain manner, and also we're born in a specific society that, again, thinks in a specific way and behaves in a specific manner as well. And me coming from Algeria, for example, you know, really conservative country, really humble country, a really quiet country as well, okay, where people keep to themselves. I guess that's the same thing as conservative. And so when it comes to, you know, really when it comes to stepping out of my shell, when it came to entrepreneurship, it was a little bit difficult. And by taking on door-to-door sales, actually Juan and I did door-to-door sales for like, what was it, 2.5 years, 3 years? Mm-hmm. Just about. Like 2.5 or 3 years. And, you know, it was really what enabled me to become a small miniature version of an iconoclast of my own life, all right? Because I was able to break through the superstitions and, you know, break through the superstition of, you know, going to school for a certain amount of years, getting a good job, climbing up the ladder, you know, blah, 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 the whole rat race. And, you know, but really the true definition of an iconoclast, or true examples of iconoclasts, is people like Bill Gates, people like Warren Buffett, Henry Ford, Disney, Walt Disney. And the reason why these people I consider iconoclasts is because, well, they don't settle for the norm. And they actually break through barriers to really create new realities for the average person, okay? And so, for example, Bill Gates, right, broke through the belief, or pretty much broke through the idea that, well, personal computers, I don't know why I'm overthinking this, wow. That's what happens when you record videos on the fly. You know, he brought computers to the average household, right? And then you got Walt Disney, who everybody told him that his idea was BS, that nobody would ever entertain it. And he created pretty much a new source of imagination for the average person. And so here's the deal, okay? Iconoclast, there's about 3 different, I guess we can call them characteristics, or let's see if there's a better term that I wrote down here from the book. Yeah, 3 main functions. He called them 3 main functions, okay? And the first one is perception. And the idea of perception is just about seeing differently than others. Okay, so again, you're probably growing up in a household that wants you to think and behave in a specific way. Also in a society or a social group, you know, friends of friends, school that you go to, the town that you live in, you know, they really behave and act in a specific manner, and they think of the world in a specific manner. But the idea of perception is really how you as a person see the world based on your beliefs, your traumatic experiences, or, you know, your experiences in general, and your thoughts as well. And so in order for you to really break the standard or break the norms, you have to be able to perceive the world a different way and realize that it could be better, right? So they just see the world differently than the majority of people. Now the second thing is, the second function is fear response, okay? And that is the ability to just tame stress responses. Now, when it comes to entrepreneurship, I think that a lot of people honestly should never be entrepreneurs because they can't handle stress at all. For example, I used to date a girl that actually got into entrepreneurship, but her level of anxiety and stress were just at normal times, okay? And I'm talking about just on a day-to-day basis, stress and anxiety levels are up here. So when she started her business, those stress and anxiety levels just shot through the roof. And the reason why it's important to be able to tame stress responses is because, well, there's a lot of unpredictability when it comes to entrepreneurship. So you have to be able to accept the idea of ambiguity, okay? I'm not even sure if I'm saying this word right, ambiguity, right? Which is the idea of, like, you know, things being, you know, it's the unknown, right? Not fearing the unknown. And the second type of, because he actually listed the 3 types of fear. The first one is the fear of the unknown. The second one is the fear of judgment, right? The fear of looking stupid. So when you start a business, you know, you're risking the fact that other people can laugh at you when you fail. And although, you know, some people tend to brush this off, psychologically, we all have a need for belonging. We all have a need for, you know, fitting in and being accepted. And unfortunately, when you do things differently, when you perceive the world differently, a lot of times people will point at you and say, hey, that person is different. But instead of saying, hey, that person is different, they're gonna call you weird. They're gonna call you crazy. They're gonna call you obsessed. And you know, those are all terms that are used to describe these iconoclasts, like I just mentioned: Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Walt Disney, you know, Henry Ford. And the list goes on and on. These are people that were labeled crazy, you know, insane, you know, weird, but they never let the fear of judgment from other people, you know, really dictate what they do and how they do and how they're gonna change the world. So if you want to become an entrepreneur, if you already are, you have to get comfortable with being laughed at. And thankfully, when we did door-to-door sales for a couple of years, well, we got laughed at a lot. We got yelled at, we got kicked out of houses, we got cops called on us. So we became pretty numb to it at this point. And the last fear mechanism is failure. Okay, you are risking the fear of failing whenever you start a business, whenever you you know, step out of your house to change the world. And that fear of failure really cripples the majority of people in this world. And the reason why is because, well, failure is painful, right? Failure is painful, at least to the majority of the people that I'm talking about here. Now, the way that I like to personally think about fear is just like how some of the most successful people in the world think about fear. And that is simply as a learning lesson, as a feedback loop. And so if, for example, let's say you're an e-commerce entrepreneur, you're launching your e-commerce business, well, you gotta understand that you will fail. Not every product you're gonna test is going to be an absolute hit. But on the alternative side, one product Okay, one product can change your life. One product changed our life. That's what allowed us to, quit our door-to-door sales job that we obviously valued it, we're grateful for it, but at the end of the day, it was just nothing that we really aimed to do for the rest of our life. We felt no purpose, and we're just living paycheck to paycheck. But the opportunities and the people that we got to meet through it were just unreal. Like, we would never exchange those experiences. But one product, okay, and you guys can check out how we build, it was actually a micro brand. You guys can check out how we build micro brands, e-commerce micro brands. A lot different than drop shipping and Amazon FBA. And it's actually the height, the pinnacle of e-commerce at the moment. So you guys can check out the free case study below. Absolutely free. You just gotta put in your name and email and check it out. And you also have a chance to schedule a strategy session at the end to work more closely with Juan and I, all right? Now, when it comes to fear of failure, okay, you have to accept the fact that you will fail probably more than you will ever succeed. But just one product, one success can make up for all those failures. And so feedback loops is just really the idea of process of elimination. It's like you try one thing, doesn't work, you move on to the next theory and the next theory. And the list goes on and on. Now here's the last function of an iconoclast, all right? The last function of an iconoclast is just social intelligence, okay? Now, social intelligence, again, relating it back to door-to-door sales, that's really because in high school, and Juan and I always talk about this. I mean, you probably tell me yourself, you were a shy kid, right, in school?
Yeah, I was pretty quiet in school. I wasn't as active. I wasn't as talkative. Yeah, that's just like naturally who I am. I'm a lot more introverted just by nature. But I would say once I got comfortable, just like within sales, once I got comfortable with talking to people and just getting used to rejection, things like that, it became a lot easier. But at first, I feel like it's completely normal it depends on your personality to be a little bit more intimate to new situations, new experiences. But yeah, in school, I was definitely pretty quiet. In sales, I started off pretty quiet, but as I got more used to it, more experience, I opened up a lot more.
Yeah, and for me personally, I was always extroverted.
The opposite.
I was pretty much the opposite. And I think that's why, honestly, Juan and I worked real well together, and we still do. Sometimes, right, opposites can complement each other a lot of times. But here's the thing: when it comes to social intelligence, like Juan just said, when he started doing door-to-door sales, he had no choice but to switch that up. He couldn't just say, oh, I'm an introvert, blah, 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 and just use that as an excuse. He realized that he had to become extroverted and just learn social intelligence for us to be able to close deals. And so, for example, the whole reason why we're in LA right now is because of social intelligence, okay? We were able to meet somebody, then meet somebody else, and then meet somebody else, and essentially build up enough confidence, rapport, relatability to get an opportunity from that person to be able to really, really make some drastic moves for the holiday season. Okay, it's in the e-commerce space, it's e-commerce products, really a project that we dreamed of for a while, and just randomly comes on our plate, and hopefully, okay, fingers crossed, probably by the time you guys are watching this video here, we'd have secured that deal. But again, right, it's like, how could we have rationalized? The average person would never be able to rationalize, getting a text for an appointment or a meeting, like on the opposite side of the country, a 6.5-hour flight away, and saying yes to that immediately, committing right away, and then flying out, right? The average person would be sitting there thinking about fear of failure, fear of being laughed at, like flying all the way here, not getting the deal, then flying back. And the third, right, is just perception, right? We saw, even though it's a 6.5-hour flight and we had other responsibilities at home, we saw the perception of possibilities, opportunity on the other side of that flight and this trip here, all right? Although it's not the most comfortable thing, or it wasn't the most logical thing for us to do, we had to take quick action and come out here and make it happen, okay? And that also ties back into the window of opportunity. When you understand that opportunities don't last forever, then you'll be able to perceive the opportunities that come on your plate with a lot more clarity, all right? So again, just real quick video. I know it probably lasted, 14, 15 minutes here, but you know, just woke up feeling real good. Fortunately, I had a great friend of mine pass away a couple weeks ago. So that's why I haven't really been posting on here, but you know, I was able to pay my dues and, you know, mourn respectively. So with that being said, make sure you guys leave a thumbs up, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and also make sure to check out the case study, okay? Absolutely free case study on how to start and scale your own e-commerce micro brand that crushes traditional dropshipping stores and Amazon FBA listers, and literally just dominate any niche you get into, okay? So with that being said, take care, love you guys, and I will see you very soon. Bye-bye.